Yeah.
Charleston Southern head coach Gabe Giardina and his team 24 winners at Western Illinois snapped a conference losing streak and getting one in the win column. This week they're home. Eastern Illinois comes to town. So, coach, just some thoughts about the team and the win, and we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, I was obviously really pleased and happy to get the win. I thought it was a great faith and kind of heart test for our team. We just kind of been preaching that all week and walking around practice with a stethoscope. Kyle putting it on people's hearts, going, "Hey, how's your heart? Where's your heart at? Come on." And it was just great for our guys to answer the call throughout the game. We scored in every quarter. We really challenged our team last week to kind of refresh their mind and think of these last, stretch of the season as a new season. And so we did. They maintained their poise against, I think, a very tough team and freshman quarterback that's and he's on fire right now. Big test this week here at home, and I always know that Coach Wilkerson's going to have a team that's tough, hard nosed, well coached, ready to play, and full of a lot of good players. The OVC Big South Gauntlet never ceases.
Thanks, Coach. We got Dan with us who covers EIU for Prairie State Pigskin. I'm going to let him go ahead and ask anything he has first.
Good morning, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, for being on.
So I wanted to ask you, looking back last year, that crazy finish that happened in Charleston, Illinois, what do you remember?
I remember us going a little World Cup at the end there, kicking a football, and just a really hard-nosed, fought game by two teams who were probably in similar places at that time, and two very resilient football teams, two teams that I think fought, to the very end there, and just came up short. Not particularly, I guess, fond memories, but a learning moment for us. To kind of teach our players going forward, and great job by Chris and his guys of competing not just 4 quarters but into overtime. They got a big 4th down stop against this. Just kind of shows the character of a Chris Wilkerson football team. They're gonna battle you for 60 minutes and beyond.
Looking at this Saturday's game, I think it was mentioned earlier. It's your homecoming, but what do you see of this Eastern Illinois team? Like specifically, like which players kind of stand out to you?
Well, I think Cooper obviously jumps off the film in a lot of areas. He's been a good player for a long time. I know he's he's a guy I'd like to meet. Shake his hand and whatever, get a coffee with probably, because he seems like just a self-made guy that super talented, very smart, loves football, is a playmaker in a lot of areas. CJ Nelson will run past you in a heartbeat, and then just their overall size. They're like 315 across the board up front. So just collectively, you can tell they recruit to have a big football team. And I think it's kind of similar on their D line with great size. They roll a lot of guys, which kind of keeps them fresh and keeps them playing hard. And then obviously I think it's Nixon here. Jawan has been super productive as far as making tackles and having ball disruptions, and so you gotta have a good plan. I think the Jefferson kid is he's a load up there at nose amongst many others, and you got some good pass rushers there on the edge with Robles and Van Hyfe and Knowledge Davis. We know him, we recruited him, so there's a lot of good personnel, but also to me it speaks to the culture of their program. It's not just who they got, it's how they play. And obviously they play very, very hard. They give you some problems, some things you gotta, prepare for that are different, than other people. And so it's not just a beauty pageant out there. They got a lot of good content into what their schemes are and how they try to attack you.
I got one more for
Can
you.
I say this too? Can I say this too? The punter is incredible.
Yeah.
That guy is killing the ball. And then you got a freshman kicker that's like, I think 7 for 8 or 8 for 10 or something like that. So, but the punter is, I mean, he jumps off the ball jumps off his foot and he jumps off the tape.
Well, turning to your team, I know you and Kyle kind of talked about this at the beginning, but just what did that come from behind victory last week do for the morale of your team?
Well, I think everything we do here, we are really trying to teach lessons beyond football that are going to serve these guys for the rest of their life. So we talk about faith, and we're talking about faith in Christ. And we just kept saying in the second half, and we're you're bringing the team over, you're talking to the team, you're like, hey guys, this is your football faith being tested right now. Like, be ready to answer the call. Let's get through this. Let's pass the test. And so it's just really proud. We shut them out over the last 22 minutes. We had to make 2 really big defensive stops where they made plays. They had a big 3rd down conversion and then hit us another, for another deep pass like the very next play. So, to stop them on the 4th down, in their, plus territory. And just to see our guys score in every quarter, we hadn't done that all season. And so for me, that was very gratifying. And I know it was gratifying for our players and just honoring to what we're trying to do here. And that's just honor Christ. And so for me, that was just, us exercising our faith in what we are and who we believe, we are as men. And I'm not trying to over spiritualize football. Please don't, think that. I just think that it's a great life lesson, and we were able to exercise, that lesson in the game.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Coach, I don't know if this is accurate. I was watching the broadcast when Zoltan threw his 4th touchdown. I think the announcer said gunslinger, and that's what we posted on social media. Does that work? Is that a good term to describe his game?
Yeah, we always say, it was obviously excited for him to be the conference player of the week and Steve, but yeah, you got to have he's definitely got that mindset. Sometimes in gunfights, gunslingers get shot too, you know what I'm saying? So, but the deal is that he's been fearless. He was not healthy going into the game. He barely threw the ball all week, and credit to him and for getting himself like ready to play. And I'm just proud of our wideouts and our offensive staff for coming up with some things to get some guys open, and really proud of like Jamil Bishop. He's been banged up, not playing 100%, and he's been suffering, and you like seeing a senior suffer at practice. So very gratifying to just pull him aside and say, hey man, like, just because you're not playing at 100% doesn't mean that your 80 or 90 isn't what we need. And for him to catch 2 big touchdowns, for me personally, it was awesome. But the better part was that, Sunday night, I go to night church, during the season. There's Jamil Bishop, sitting beside my wife, and we're talking about things that go way beyond the football field.
The other person who caught 2 touchdowns was Sean Cunningham. Any other week, that's probably freshman of the week accolades, except we have 2 quarterbacks who were throwing for a bunch of touchdowns. Well, what about his evolution during his first season here?
I just think Sean continues to improve. He's a very hard worker. He's kind of a quiet guy that is goes about his business, loves football. He's been a great special teams player for us. And it's kind of an unsung thing, I think, for receivers sometimes to play on teams. And for him to make those big catches in those big moments, obviously really excited for him. And my second son, I think he's quickly becoming De'Ara's favorite player. He's like, man, I really like, he calls him Rayshawn. I really like that Rayshawn guy. I'm like, yeah, me too, D. So.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time. If you best of luck to your team this weekend, and then we'll talk to you again this time next week.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys.